Welcome back. In this video, we are going to read and discuss some AITAs. I've got Reddit pulled up already. Let's just jump right into it. AITA for telling my mom I have a job while paying for lunch during an argument. I don't see how you could be. I need details. My 27 male spouse, 28 male, is terminally ill and is sleeping a lot more these days, a sign he's near the end of life. I am his caregiver. Wow, that started off a lot deeper than I expected based on the title. All right, let's dig in. My mom, 59 female, has been codependent for as long as I can remember. Watching her lack of emotional regulation taught me to downplay and hide my emotions to protect hers growing up, and I still don't readily share my emotions. She gives me unsolicited advice on what to do or how to feel and assumes I'm in denial about the seriousness of my situation because I don't share every detail of what we're going through. I'm sorry, but losing a spouse to a terminal illness at 28, 27 years old? Gosh. Anyways, I've repeatedly set boundaries with her as I'm already carrying my own grief along with my spouse's and have told her I can't carry hers as well. Today, she fell for an online scam, so we went to lunch to cheer her up. We're eating out when out of nowhere she says, "Just so you know, your spouse is very likely going to die in his sleep." What is this story? I'm like being yanked, like slammed wall to wall. What is this story? Who just says that? Like, oh, this focaccia's delicious. By the way, your spouse is gonna die in his sleep. Like, I'm sorry. It caught me off guard and felt patronizing. Sure. When I asked her why she said that, she said, I don't share with her anymore. And she felt it was important to tell me so that I'm better prepared for his death. Okay, I kind of see where she was trying to come from on that. I calmly told her I don't need unsolicited advice on how to navigate a situation I've lived with and thought about for years. That I'm a capable adult of handling my own business and issues. And it's hurtful to hear something so dark and out of place when I'm trying to enjoy our visit and live in the moment. She got defensive even though I told her I knew she meant well, then started crying and twisting my words around. That I accused her of being hateful and how she's the mom and needs to know her kid's okay. I said she isn't entitled to know every detail about my inner workings / my waking life. At this point, I felt anxious, but I stood by my boundary. My mom was still crying as I picked up the check. She began to insist that she pay, but I had planned on paying it since I have a consistent income and just got paid yesterday. Sorry, bumped you. And she works freelance and lives in a travel trailer. Overwhelmed, I said without thinking, I have a job and you just got scammed out of $200. Let me. And she accused me of calling her a loser with no reliable income. Boy, do the emotions turn things into a game of that telephone game. You could say one thing to me, but my emotions will hear and register something so much worse than what you just said. I can relate because that's what mom is doing right now. Like, you just got scammed, which is a fact. Let me pay. And she hears, would she hear a loser with no reliable? That is 1,000,000% something I would do when I get emotional. Part of me thinks she brought it up just to deflect her own behavior, but I do feel bad for saying it, even if it wasn't intended to be that deep. She cried during an otherwise quiet ride home before she brought up the check, and then what she said. I asked her how she thought how my spouse would feel if I heard her say that or what she did, or how it makes me feel to hear her say that and have my own situation explained to me like I'm dumb. Did that sentence make sense? She kept dismissing my anger, so I asked her to find somewhere else to stay, which I feel bad about because it's raining today and she was already having a bad day from getting scammed. AITA. Why do I feel confused by this story? Did that story have a good, follow through? Because I feel like I was all over the place. I feel like we were getting all kinds of details we didn't need. And maybe I'm just dumb, but I feel like we didn't get the details we do need. What's even the question? What happened? Oh, okay. So he's asking, was his comment about having a job and how she just got scammed making him an a-hole? I'm gonna go with NTA. You are not an a-hole for this one. She, from her perspective, you said something nasty, but that's only because her emotions turned what you said into something else. You didn't actually say something nasty. She just heard something nasty. And that's not on you, girl. Look at your big old booty making noise. You slam that thing around? The dog has entered the chat. But I'm going with it with an NTA because you just said a fact of what it was, and sure, in an annoyed way because she was saying things that you didn't appreciate. But I'm going with an NTA, but I'm honestly a little confused by that story, so I'm curious what the comments say. NTA, the concern trolling, the grandiloquent self-flagellation, the big tears is all textbook emotional manipulation. I'm glad you're not falling for it. She's doing the same thing she's seemingly always done, except now, as an adult, you're setting boundaries and enforcing them, which she's not used to. So obviously it's complicated for her to adjust, and it's going to make you feel guilty because guilt is all she has now. Rest assured, it shows you're on the right track. Yeah, I'm not going to read the rest of that comment, but yeah. I feel so bad for this OP because, I'm sorry, but to lose a partner, a loved one, to a terminal illness so young, I cannot even close to imagine. But I can only think that that would be beyond horrific and sad and difficult to deal with. So on top of that, having a mother who is manipulative, emotionally manipulative over you, like, there was an edit up here. Let me go back and read that edit because it says, edit, I just want to thank you guys for the support, but I'm not going to disown my mom, and while her behavior can be shitty and toxic, please don't call her a piece of shit. There's a difference. My dad is a Trump supporting bigot who threatened to kill me when he found out I'm queer. Wow. With every second passing, I just feel worse and worse for this person. This person has a really shitty mom, shitty dad, amazing partner, but who's passing? Oh, come on. That sucks. Yeah, everybody's at an NTA on this one, and I am definitely at an NTA on this one. I just feel badly for that person. Like, I feel like that was a really heavy story. AITA for going behind my friend's back, talking shit about him after he broke my couch. Yeah. Even just based off the title, yeah. Why are you going around behind his back? If you got something to say, say it right to his face. But let's read. AITA. Essentially, I have a friend that I was quite close with who took over my lease from my house while I went on a year-long study exchange in England. He brought 2 of his friends to the house. It was a 3-bedroom place. Over the course of the year, he had numerous people coming in and out. At one point, he had 7 people living in the 3-bedroom house. Our initial plan was that he would sublet the house off me for a year and I would have it back when I returned. Halfway through the year, I had randomly messaged him to see how the house was going, and he told me he's going to move out because him and his new friends in the house want to move somewhere nicer. I had to beg him not to leave because that meant I would not have a place to live when I got back and violated our deal. I was really upset that he had gone behind my back, that he was going to move out, but I eventually begged him to stay, and he did. I returned back to the house last month, and upon arrival I found that one of my couches had been ripped up. I like to think it wasn't on purpose, but the fact that nobody will come clean and tell me what has happened bugs me. Anyways, I'm now back in the house, and after he refused to take any responsibility for the couch, after attempting to talk about it various times to him, I needed to vent, so I messaged his ex-girlfriend, who was a previous tenant at the house 2 years ago, and basically talked a lot of shit about this guy because I was upset. I was friends with the ex before I knew him, so I didn't feel like I was breaking any bro code. Then I went out for dinner with his friends, and he couldn't make it. And to be fair, I did spend most of the night upset about my couch and once again talking shit about him because I just needed to vent. Both that night and me messaging his ex got back to him. It all blew up last night when we were at a mutual friend's birthday party. Last night, me and a bunch of friends were doing MDMA. This guy didn't. As I was coming up, I saw him and did the natural burst of love you get when you're on MDMA, telling him how much I love him, and because we're both going through long-term breakups at the moment, we're going through the same thing and we will always be there for each other. He took this as an opportunity to bring up that I had been talking shit about him to his friends and his ex. This set me off, and I talked about everything I was mad about at the house and my couch. Pause. I cannot imagine having an altercation, an argument, while I'm coming up. Like, I don't think I would be physically capable of being angry. I've been on many an MDA come up. Never once has anyone tried to confront me on anything. So I can't imagine. But I genuinely think that my response due to the substance would just be like so extremely overly apologetic. Like, even if actually me doesn't think I'm wrong, I feel like in that moment I would just like, oh my god, I'm so sorry I upset you. Like, I would be so concerned that I upset them, and then I'd be pissed off later when I came down that I had apologized for some I didn't even mean. But I'm just saying, I can't even imagine coming up and having an altercation. Worst situation ever. Night ruined. But this person was able to, like, actually got angry and let it all out. Let me get back to the story anyways. He feels that it was wrong of me to talk shit about him to other people and his ex. But I feel that I have brought it up with him numerous times and he has refused to take any accountability. He is a very stubborn guy and he won't apologize about my couch and him going behind my back and almost leaving the house. So AITA for talking to my friends about why I'm upset with him. Okay. I am a touch, like, I'm in the middle here because venting, even about, like, your most loved one, like, sometimes you need to vent. But where does venting become talking shit, right? Because at first in the story, I was completely on his side, where you call an old friend and vent to them in, like, a one-on-one kind of private conversation. But then you go out and now you're also having this vent session with now a public group of people. And I'm not saying it has to be one-on-one and in complete privacy, but, like, I don't know. It feels like more like talking shit than venting. Like, if this were some sort of, like, life-changing occurrence or something that had happened, I would feel like more venting would be reasonable, more venting sessions to more people. But in my opinion, the seriousness of this issue is just that, like, a personal item was damaged. Doesn't seem like it should need as much venting as talking to multiple people multiple times over and over about it. It seems like you're just talking shit more than venting. AITA for talking to my friends about why I am upset with him. I'm gonna go like a soft YTA on this one, because I feel like you're in a gray area where you could still describe what you're doing as venting, but you could also absolutely describe what you're doing as talking shit. Now, I don't know the state of this couch. He said ripped up or something. I don't remember his exact verbiage. Let me... one of my couches had been ripped up. It's been a full year. So was there maybe like a small tear or rip happened to the couch early on in the year, and throughout the year it's kind of like gotten bigger and worse, and now it looks kind of bad. And like OP is just making such a big thing out of nothing, and that's why no one will tell him what happened, because nothing happened. A couch just like somewhere along the lines took quite a bit of wear and tear. Or I don't, it's like, I don't know, the OP's kind of like hinting at the fact that it seems like they did this on purpose, like they intentionally destroyed his couch. So if he feels like that's most likely the case, and I can understand being pretty upset about it, I don't know. I'm gonna go with a soft YTA and scroll down to the comments to see what other people think. There's a lot of deleted comments that says, I don't know this. You're not exactly winning any Friend of the Year awards here. Sure, your friend is messed up. Breaking your couch is like a portrayal of sacred don't ruin other people's stuff code. But let's be real. Airing dirty laundry to his ex and your mutual friends is like pouring salt in the wound and then rubbing it in. Sticks and stones may break my bones, but words will never hurt me is a lie. Words hurt, and gossip spreads faster than rumors at a high school reunion. If you wanted him to own up and make amends, talking behind his back wasn't the way to go. It just fueled the fire. Yeah, that's a great point, too. It's like your intention was to get him to, I'm assuming, like tell you that he messed up the couch in anger because he was mad at you or something. That's not what's going to happen from that, though. You're right in feeling upset. But venting to everyone except the person who could actually fix things isn't going to make things better, so you're definitely a little bit of an a-hole here. See, that's what I'm saying, a soft YTA. Everyone involved here sounds wildly immature. Well, yeah, absolutely. Newsflash, when you have someone take over your lease, that means they are now the leaseholder and they can end their tenancy if they want. It's between them and the landlord. Yeah, also, that's kind of an aside, too, that, like, I was going to touch on but got distracted at some point. He keeps saying this friend went behind his back and was going to break the lease. To describe it as behind your back, the friend would have had to break the lease without telling you, and then you found out or something. For him to tell you, like, hey, bro, I'm thinking about breaking this lease, is the exact opposite of behind your back. Like, that is to your face. Like, I don't know, it could have been through text, but you get the point. Is like, that is as direct to you as possible. Before anything happens, he tells you that this might be a plan he's thinking about doing. When you, in fact, tell him, like, bro, please stick to the original plan that we made, he does. It seems like, I don't know, it seems like you're really upset and thinking that everything's like this big, awful fight, and your friend's just, like, living life. Like, and so now you have these suspicions that because you're upset, you think that they're equally as upset and must have done something out of spite with your couch, blah, blah, blah. And it's like, I'm really getting the impression that nothing happened to the couch. It just, like, probably got a cut, a tear on accident. Whatever, you know what I mean? Like, weird things happen. And then it got worn out. And then a year later, you come back and you're upset. And you think that this person goes behind your back. So now you're trying to figure out all the things they've done behind your back. Like, it didn't seem behind the back to me. Straight up told you, like, hey, I'm thinking about leaving. And this person had a good point. It's like, that's how leaseholding goes. And there's a certain, like, as with everything, there's, like, a gray area, right? Like, yeah, a year is a decent amount of time. It wouldn't be, especially, are these people young? It seems like they were young, yes. Oh, they didn't give ages. But anyways, it seems like they're very young. So particularly when you're like, I'm assuming these people are somewhere in their 20s-ish. Like, your life is changing really quickly and a lot. Like, I wouldn't even suggest most people in their 20s signing a year lease. Because, like, at least me in my 20s and most people I know, like, we were moving, doing different things, figuring out where we wanted to be, all this stuff. Like, I don't think even now in my 30s I would, well, no, I probably would. But in my 20s, I really would not go for something like a year-long lease because I don't know where I'm going to be at in a year. So if you've made this sort of unofficial deal, like, he's not saying, like, oh, we signed contract, we made a deal. Not unofficial, but it's like if you've made a deal and that deal sometime within a year is changing, like, that's not necessarily unreasonable. It could be. But, like, it's not, I don't know. I feel like OP is just super overreacting to everything. I'm not entirely sure why. Soft YTA. He stayed in the house to help you out. Stop people of having him move out. If you have, blah, blah, blah. I'm not gonna read all that. Everyone sucks here. You're mad about the couch, but what about you coercing him into staying into a living situation he wanted to get out of? YTA, because I doubt you had permission to sublease. It's not your property. He never should have been there without permission from the owner. Also, don't do drugs. Anyways, soft YTA on that one, definitely. And with that, let's end the video here. I got to move on with my day, but that was very fun and entertaining. Please do let me know your comments on anything down below, because I would love to discuss these topics with you. There were some really weird ones that I was like having trouble deciding where I was at on them today. Usually, literally like halfway through the story, I'm decided, but this time I was having some trouble. If you like this video, don't forget to hit the little thumbs up down below. Subscribe while you're hanging out down there. And I will see you in the next one. Bye.